Hello, 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 welcome back. I said last week that I was going to talk about Lil Judd and what he was hiding, and today we're doing that. I want to make a disclaimer really quickly that this is going to be a lot more of a discussion than it is a theory. With Mr. Grizz, I had all my evidence right here in front of me, but a lot of this is speculating on the DLC, so there's a lot that I don't know yet. If you haven't already figured it out, this is going to contain spoilers for the entire story mode of Splatoon 3 and also Splatoon 2, but that game came out 5 years ago, so probably that doesn't matter that much to warn you about. Lil Judd was created by the professor to keep Judd company in the new world he woke up in. He was put in the capsule as a clone, so essentially he was a backup Judd that was taken from Judd's original DNA. Exactly who activated Lil Judd and when is unknown, but he appeared in Inkopolis sometime shortly before Splatoon 2. After appearing in Inkopolis, he mostly started hanging around with Judd, and he's the mascot for the opposing team in turf war battles. He's also kinda scary as a character, and that's because he has this huge inferiority complex about him due to him being an inferior clone to Judd. You can see this in him physically in that he's much smaller than Judd. He also has lighter fur, a smaller face, and pure black eyes as opposed to Judd's regular cat eyes. Like I brought up last video with Mr. Grizz, Lil Judd may be a lot less of a cat than Judd is. It doesn't really play that much into this or this theory, but it's an interesting point to bring up. According to the Splatoon 2 relationship chart, Lil Judd has known that he was a clone since he first woke up and harbors resentment for Judd because of this. He's waiting for his chance to stab Judd in the back. As of Splatoon 3, Lil Judd's appearance has changed quite a bit. He's dirtier, his face is even smaller by comparison to his body, and his fur texture has become much spikier. It's worth noting the spiky texture resembles the fuzzy ooze, which is also a result of unsuccessful cloning. Sunken Sea Scroll 23 details an implied assassination attempt on Judd, meaning Lil Judd has started taking direct action against Judd, and possibly all the other people that Lil Judd may oppose. Really, this all reminds me of something a friend said a while back. Good news! Lil Judd is running Grizzco now, so he's definitely a terrorist, if he wasn't already a terrorist before. In Splatoon 3, Lil Judd definitely has a lot of explicit ties to Grizzco. First of all, he starts wearing a headset after you complete story mode, implying that he's now supervising something that Mr. Grizz once was, most likely Salmon Run. He uses a Grizzco and Salmonid-themed deck in Table Turf, despite having no stated connection to Salmon Run. Grizzco is regularly advertised on the news and has been since Splatoon 2, despite none of the idols knowing Mr. Grizz and Mr. Grizz having never actually been to Inkopolis. Grizzco also opened around the same time Lil Judd first showed up in Inkopolis. Some people say that Lil Judd was woken up shortly before Splatoon 2 by Judd, after becoming lonely, but Judd has been around for 2,000 years and integrated himself into cephalopod society fully. Lil Judd was first spotted around 5 years ago, right before Splatoon 2. Given Judd's capsule was likely in or near Alterna, it's possible a newly crashed Mr. Grizz may have been the one to actually wake up Lil Judd. Lil Judd also has a lot of reason to work with Mr. Grizz because both have an interest in cloning, and therefore golden eggs and salmon run, as golden eggs are used to power cloning. Mr. Grizz wishes to bring back mammals, and Lil Judd has an inferiority complex that stems from him being a clone. Lil Judd would have reason to help Mr. Grizz, as in a world where the majority of inhabitants were cloned mammals, he would no longer be regarded as inferior just for being a clone. The really interesting thing is that natural clones already exist in the Splatoon world. Jellyfish canonically reproduce asexually by splitting in two. I can't find the concept art of it online, but it's physically very similar to mitosis. The thing is, non-jellyfish clones of species that don't reproduce asexually have been popping up in Splatsville. This goldfish appears as 3 different characters throughout Splatsville, all using the same model. The voice of the hidden Grizzco employee at the rewards counter also matches hers, implying at least 4 instances of this same goldfish. Sunken Sea Scroll 24 shows this staff member, her name's Marigold, and multiple aliases of hers. The text refers to her as a subject, implying that she's being experimented on in some way. The use of the singular title of subject also implies that all iterations of Marigold are the same person. The scribbles over this documentation imply the information here isn't meant to be known by Splatsville citizens. The messiness of these scribbles also implies that this blackout may have been a quick cover-up job. That doesn't really have much to do with anything, I just think it's interesting that somebody may be onto this cloning scheme. As of Splatoon 3, Judd is by himself in the lobby again. This is significant because in Splatoon 2, Lil Judd was constantly by Judd's side. In Splatoon 3, Lil Judd can't be found anywhere in the lobby except for when you challenge him to Table Turf battle. I believe that Lil Judd is hiding somewhere so that he can document his cloning experiments and run Grizzco in secret. Now this part's admittedly pure speculation, but Grizzco being run out of a laundromat despite being able to afford helicopters screams there's something else going on with this building to me. It isn't shown much in the picture, but there is a second floor of this building that doesn't appear to have any business occupying it, and that could possibly be where Lil Judd is. He could also be literally anywhere else. My very vague DLC predictions include Lil Judd being the main villain and the story revolving around stopping his clone revolution and or whatever abomination he ends up creating. He seems to be able to successfully clone fish, but as we saw with Mr. Grizz, cloning mammals might not be nearly as successful. Hopefully we'll also be getting more salmonid lore. I think the plot will have to be heavily focused on salmonids and their culture given the golden egg significance in the cloning process. This will hopefully also give some retroactive insight into Mr. Grizz's backstory as well as the results of him commercializing Salmon Run. We know Salmon Runs existed for thousands of years as some sort of natural give and take between Inkling and Salmonid society. Through his reward system, Mr. Grizz has created an environment where more is being taken from the Salmonids than ever has before in any of their previous migrations. Maybe we'll also get an explanation as to why Lil Buddy is some sort of mythical being, but I highly doubt it. The results of upsetting the natural balance of Salmonid migration might also answer the question as to what the hell Splatoon 2's C-Scroll 17 meant. And I mean it, seriously, what the fuck did this mean? Now that we know prophecies can come true, this has to mean something, right? If you have any idea whatsoever what this might mean, please let me know in the comments, because it's legit been haunting me for 5 years. Now keep in mind, once again, it's hard to piece things together without the full material or context. I'm 100% sure Lil Judd is running Salmon Run and has some ties to Mr. Grizz, but I can't fully prove it without just straight up having it being said in-game. I'm just some idiot on the internet, and in the case that this blows up, please don't try and use my theories to discredit others or be mean to anyone. That being said, I'm very open to any sort of respectful discussion in the comments on your own theories. I love this game, and nothing makes me happier than to talk about it with other people who do as well. I'll definitely be speaking on the pink fish later, because like I said, it's been haunting me for 5 years, but I don't know if my next video will be about Splatoon. I love Splatoon, but I also love a shitload of other video games, and a bunch of cartoons, and the entire concept of musical theater, and art in general, and I want to talk about all of that. So if that sounds appealing to you, then you can subscribe. If it doesn't sound appealing to you, don't subscribe, I'm not your boss. That being said, I think this video is over. Good riddance, stay safe.